I cannot be sitting like this for a long time because I will stiffen up. I figured I was gonna go into the woods for once and just sit down and see what comes. the silence and energy of being here is enough to get the reset that the talking should do, or normally does. So what you just saw was pretty much a thought coming to mind, and then realizing that by just doing it, you are doing it. You are being by being. I think this is one of those things that has been going on all the time, so it hasn't really been noticed, but Lawrence of Lunov of Black Diamond Process has been part of this odyssey now for some months. I don't really remember when we met, but we have been in contact and sharing magic and creating these things by not realizing that we were creating them in the beginning, and then just became more and more. All of a sudden we saw that, holy shit, we've been creating all the time. But of course, you know, it's like one of those, that meme, do you know that meme? That one? The knowing nod. So, as we've been creating, the puzzle piece has not really expanded, because it was kind of limitless from the beginning. It's one of those puzzle pieces that is kind of hard to put together because there are no corner pieces. Some of you will know what I mean. And the more pieces that comes to play, you're seeing the bigger picture, you're seeing more and more of the picture, realizing that it's 3D or more, you know. Just became so huge. So while all that was happening, there was a lot happening at the family side as well. I was having all these intense experiences, almost like a spiritual awakening, just ongoing, right? It's like the ego death. Some of you will know what I talk about. And then just have that all day, every day. Not really with any substances involved, but just going through the processes of shedding the next layer all the time. Gets tiresome, to be honest, but if there's one thing that I've found out through all of this, it is that the people are crucial. If I didn't have people around me, there would be no chance. But it's not just the people around you. Like, it's not just having people for people's sake. It's not just to hang out because you're bored one day. It's way more than that. It's about talking to people who are on the same frequency, in that frequency you need to be at for that specific task. It's almost like having a bunch of cables intertwined into a wire, right? Every single one of those cables being a value, a thing that you have to fulfill, or something that a part of you. I don't think you could ever find one person that is all of those things. Of course, you need to have those in yourself, and you have to be strong in yourself, and you have to, be grounded, I guess, in who you are. But even when you know who you are, having people to bounce ideas with really helps with the whole loneliness and stuff. Because if you're not able to talk normally to people, have conversations that goes beyond, and you have certain topics that you just need to talk about in order to be at that energy, it's hard to maintain that alone. That energy of being able to produce, be high performing, stay disciplined, persistent, just up. Being able to get back up when you stumble, crash, fall, and burn. And some people are really good at, let's say, just the human connection, just the person-to-person kind of talks, where you dynamically go through a whole bunch of things that clarifies a whole bunch of different, we said challenges or just blockages or whatever you want to call it, shadows or barricades that is keeping you from being 100%. Having people to bounce those thoughts off are great. But it requires something completely different when it comes to what type of person do you need in order to really produce next level, multidimensionally. When you are going to produce things that doesn't exist. When you have an idea and you're doing irrational things to follow that urge to create something that you don't even know exists or is possible to do, but you know. That kind of thing, you know? To have those conversations with those without the experience is damn well impossible. Almost. I've had a few instances where people who were not ready for those types of conversations because they lacked the experience, they were part of it, and it felt like a freaking psychedelic trip because there was like metaphysical communication going on. When you have been through an experience, you don't necessarily need to explain everything about that experience to another person if they have been through the same. So you can go and basically bounce off energies that doesn't really have to be communicated because, you know, it's like the eyes or something. It's the entire energy is just communicating. And if people are not at that frequency and they join in on such a conversation, they actually get physically ill sometimes. Like ready to puke, kind of seasick emotions. Because there are so many ideas that is flocking, coming at you at once from a place that you haven't really conceptualized yet. So you don't really know how to deal with all these new imprints. And if those if those just keep on hitting you, that's overwhelming. It's not the point though, it's just a little disclaimer and experience that I had to show that this fucking thing is real. And it has to be respected like everything else. So me and Lauren, we talked a lot about these things, these concepts, both from this multidimensional perspective, being able to see that what was being created was being created and what this is going to lead to. So we created out the wazoo. Like things just became stuff because we thought of it. Anchor, Pulse, Saga, Ragnarok, Exalted Hammer, Black Diamond. The King's Crucible was kind of the start of all that. Because I joined King's Crucible and we had the intensive. And that's when I knew that there were other people who could think like this. Other lone wolves who just didn't have the pack on that frequency to talk about. Or talk with. Share thoughts with. And so we started to have these weekly conversations, and every single week it was like a confirmation first, a presentation of what had been created that week, and an ideation of the future that we were going to create because of it. And another manifestation of stuff that has already been created before we talked about it, but when we talk about it, we can just refer to the link, basically. Really creating multidimensionally. It's weird for many, but very, very possible. And so I wanted to say that if it wasn't for the Black Diamond process, Lauren, or any of the things that we've done, I don't think I would be able to sit on this rock right now because I wouldn't have that balance to fall to. I wouldn't have that certainty that I could just pick up that cable, you know, and get that back to power because I wouldn't know it existed. I would have been confined to the people that I knew, only talking to the people I know about things we have always talked about or something. Like, even though you're thinking innovatively and you're trying to breed new ideas and you want to create something new, not all people talk like that at a normal pace, kind of. It's weird. Like, not all people will talk about the same things. It's kind of natural as well, but to have that cable, to have the opportunity to pick up that frequency, basically. I feel like a multidimensionally, cosmically aligned phone, the central, the wires, the phones back in the day. Switchboard, doesn't have to. I feel like a multi-dimensional switchboard where I have a hole, there's a name on that hole, and sometimes you have to plug it. And when you do, you get tuned into that frequency that you need in that moment. There are a lot of emotions to accept and to embody, basically, that I didn't know existed. Like the next texture of those we know. And I wouldn't be able to feel those if I didn't have other like-minded people to get confirmation and experiences with, to really bounce thoughts off. Trip reports. So was a good analogy. Getting trip reports from other people who has done the same thing that you're currently trying to do is invaluable. Getting people to help you on the journey is invaluable. Everyone should probably have someone to stand shoulder to shoulder with. And I think that I'm going to be as bold to say that if you don't have that, you should probably look at yourself a little bit and figure out why. Because humans are not meant to be alone. And it's very hard to fix problems with the same mind that created them. It's nice to know the quotes. It's another thing to live them. Oh, damn, my ass is wet. Yeah, I should probably not jump and record at the same time, but I guess. That was close. If I had grabbed onto that, I would actually have been safe, but I doubted myself at the last moment. I doubted myself. That goes back to everything. Like, the reason I'm where I'm finding myself at this very moment is because I doubted myself at some point. And to get aware of that and to rectify it, transmute it, alchemize it, it's a journey. I'm probably so full of ticks right now. I wish everyone had forests to walk through. They do work magic. But maybe you got something from this, being able to tag along on this little journey of mine. May you have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care of frickin' family. I'll see you in the next one.